just want to take you through the Positive Transition application and how we onboard new end users. In the first instance, and this is specifically for our military to civilian transition process, what we can do is deliver to the customer a number of links that will provide people with access to an early version or access to the application and to the service. And this can be allocated against somebody's last four of their service number. As and when this is being done within the customer environment, we can then interrogate that database just to confirm that that link is aligned against a person's last four. So if we do click on that link, and obviously that link can be delivered via email or electronically via text message, but the link can be provided, and clicking on that link will send the end user to the service and the initial sign-on. So in the first instance, let's say that a person places their last four and just an arbitrary last four here that has been allocated to that link, and that can then take them through to the sign-on process. So only in this video I'm going to be talking about the onboarding process. So let's just create an individual. Let's say it's Mr. Because they're going to be leaving the services, but obviously we will have the facility to put rank and titles in there. And let's say this is Mark Davies, known as, let's say Marco is their name. And those elements are purely collated so that we can capture that, so that we can interact with the end user in an appropriate way. And let's say that their email address is markdavis at hotmail.com. Just again a made up email for the purpose. Made up mobile number for the purposes. And as you can see, as and when you've got the number in an expected format, then the box itself goes green. In relation to the password, just to create a level of security, we recognize that there needs to be lowercase, uppercase, numbers and symbols as part of the password. And so what we can do is create a password with all the requisite items in there, a lowercase letter, an uppercase letter, numbers and symbols, and then they can start to sign on. Just underneath the sign on, please confirm that you have read and agreed to our terms and conditions, but also to demonstrate that there's a custom element such as the privacy policy. Then those can be added as required, and we can have any number of those to add, subject to the needs of the customer, and then they can register. Now that is the service leavers account created just through the collection of some very basic contact information. Now Plus T from Positive Transition is going to be available to spouse or partners and dependents as well, because we recognize the need to be able to transition the family in its entirety and give them access to relevant information, support on decision making and prioritization over and above that of the service leaver, so that they can manage their own transition too. As part of this process, let's say that Mark Davis does have a spouse or partner, and within the process we've recognized that if Mark was to be in perhaps a mission critical role, or perhaps might struggle with transition, they can hand over the primary account to their spouse or partner, and that's simply by clicking yes or no. But in that event, in the event that the spouse or partner takes over the prime account, then they can get access to the entirety and an overview of the wider family's transition process, and that will become apparent in the next video when I talk in a little bit more detail about our service dashboard. For us to be able to contact them and for them to be able to go through the sign-on process, the onboarding process, then we simply need an email address, and let's say that is Mrs. Davis@hotmail.co.uk, and then just click on there for them to be able to share and give visibility of personal data, and that's so we can get an holistic view of the family in transition. We then look at children or dependents that may be within that family unit. If there aren't, then you can continue. But what I want to show you for the sake of this demonstration is that we've given some recognition to the fact that there may be children that are under the age of 14, which is the GDPR recognized age at which people can have independent accounts. And let's say that this person is perhaps, let's say that they're 10 years old, and they then get access to an account to view levels of information, but not necessarily all of it. And but they can set up an account just to engage with some of the broader community. But otherwise, if they're not engaging, then because they're under the age of 14, they can of course be taken into account for such things as schooling. So if they are brought on board and they need to get visibility, for the sake of argument, of some of the detail, so let's just pick up that email address, and then please confirm that you consent to your child dependence information being shared with Positive Transition. So this is just a GDPR tick to say that that information can be collected for Positive Transition and maintained under GDPR. When your child dependent joins your account, they will be able to access your personal data relating to your transition. Is this okay? Yes or no? So let's say yes, so that they get visibility. And then let's add another child who is perhaps a lot older. And let's say that they're 17 years old, and select a different birthday. Please enter your child dependent's email address, and we will send them an invite to join their account. But you will note on this one that there isn't the need to provide consent. This will be provided by the child as and when they sign on. So let's say that that's youngster 2, yes, and that's continue. Now this actual element, the buddy element, just for the sake of this demonstration, remains as part of the sub-account process. But for example, if you have got a service leaver who is single, perhaps in a mission critical role, or perhaps vulnerable and not likely to engage with the process, then they can be supported with a buddy account. And the buddy, whether that's girlfriend, parent, sibling, whoever that might be, to support them through the transition process, they will be able to get visibility of the dashboard and be able to support the service leaver in the transition process by encouraging them, coercing them to engage in the process and move through. So on this occasion we're going to say no, and we will continue, and that is the account setup done, taking you to the overall dashboard, which I will go into in the next video. Thank you very much for listening, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.